Hi there, I'm Paul Oak. I'm from Jones Feed Mills, and I'm here again today with Elaine Klesser from Kitchen Urban Hens. And that's video 4 of our backyard chicken and backyard poultry series. We're going to focus on part 2 of choosing your optimal breed of hen. In video 3, we looked at setting your goals along with egg production and climactic hardiness in choosing the right breed of hen that was right for you. And now we're going to look at some other important factors. First thing I'd like to touch on is what we call handling ability and flightiness. If you're just starting out with backyard chickens or have kids around, you might want to select a breed of hen that has a very laid-back personality. Certain breeds, such as leghorns, are very productive egg layers, but they tend to be nervous or flighty. Flightiness can be a positive attribute under the right circumstances. It results from a breed's predator natural instinct to leave when under attack. However, flighty birds tend to be easily spooked, and they tend to bolt very easily and can be difficult to catch if they do get loose. If predators are an issue in your area, a flighty bird may actually be ideal for what you want to have. However, if you're new to backyard birds and do not foresee any issues with predators, you may want a breed that is more calm and easy to manage. Two excellent types of breeds of calm birds are silkies or Orpingtons. Pay attention to the different tendencies of each breed. When you crowd birds, as sometimes happens when you have a small or a movable pen, you tend to get aggressive tendencies among different types of birds. This can result in things such as infections, broken legs. You can even end up with deceased hens through the natural aggression that occurs. So always consider this if you put docile breeds in with aggressive ones. We're also going to touch on an issue called broodiness, and perhaps Elaine can discuss a little bit more about what broodiness is.
Broodiness is a hen's natural instinct to sit on an egg until it hatches. Again, this is something that has both pros and cons. It's not something that can be learned. It is a natural instinct. Some breeds are more inclined to go broody. There are birds like silkies, which will go broody at the drop of a hat. Others have had that instinct bred right out of them. The issue with going broody is that when you go broody, and this is something that can last for 3 weeks or longer, a hen will not lay eggs. Sometimes they won't even go out of their nesting box. They'll sit there until this egg is going to hatch, which generally is not going to happen in a backyard setting because you don't have fertilized eggs. So if you're looking for egg production, you probably don't want a bird that is going to go broody. If you're looking to hatch your own eggs, then they're a great option because you don't need to worry about an incubator. You can wait till your hen goes broody and pop the fertilized eggs under. But definitely something you want to keep in mind when, again, you're picking a breed.
And then you have ornamental or heritage breeds. Ornamental or heritage breeds are birds that are not produced en masse. It's often small-scale farmers and backyard flock farmers that help to keep them going and ensure their existence. All breeds of hens are beautiful in their own way, but most people tend to have their certain breeds that appeal to them and to their taste more than others. Poultry breeds also come in all different types of sizes and colors and shapes, and perhaps Elaine could touch a little bit more on that.
Yeah, there are many different breeds, and yeah, they do come in all different shapes and sizes. You've got, I believe, the Wyandotte, which you see on the cornflake box, which is of course our image of the standard hen. But there are also ones like the silkies, which are like huge puff balls with tufts of hair coming out of their head. There's so many different variations. There's something that everyone will find that appeals to them if you're interested in backyard hens. The one thing to definitely keep in mind if you're looking at ornamental birds is sometimes if you have an established flock and you're bringing in a more ornamental bird, your existing flock may not recognize the new hen as a hen because it looks so different. So when you do go out to pick your initial flock, if you're looking at possibly having ornamental hens down the road, you might want to make sure you have at least one in your original flock.
And we talked actually about the Polish.
Yes.
And you were saying about sometimes the other birds don't recognize them if they're introduced to them. Maybe
Yes.
you could touch a little bit on that.
Well, they have a huge tuft of hair that comes out of the top of their head, and so a traditional hen like we have here isn't necessarily going to recognize it as being a hen. And the other problem is because they have this huge tuft of hair coming out of their head, they can't always see when another hen's coming towards them. And so if you introduce these guys after the fact, you have the whole issue of the pecking order being reestablished, and so they're not going to see if another hen is coming towards them to try and establish this pecking order, which often means they can get picked on, which is unfortunate, but it's one of the downsides of the pecking order, or the upsides, because it does establish flock order.
And you also have sizes of birds too. There's also size is a matter of opinion among some people as to what type of size of bird that they would like to have. You have your standard type size of bird. You also have the bantam, which is basically your miniature version of the larger fowl. Bantams are usually only about a pound to 2 pounds in weight, whereas your standard breeds are often about 4 to 7 pounds. Bantams can obviously be ideal if your space is limited as to how much room that you have for them. Bantams, however, they generally lay less eggs, and they lay them less frequently, and the eggs are smaller, obviously, than their standard counterparts. Also, you have to remember, too, that some breeds, like Silkies, come only in that bantam size, where others are available, obviously, as the bantam or miniature versions and the standard size as well. As for where you would buy them, there's lots of different locations in the area. Popular hatcheries locally in the Kitchener, Waterloo, and surrounding areas, obviously Bonnie's Hatchery, Fry's Hatchery, Pullets Plus. You can also order the birds in the springtime through Jones Feed Mills. We do our spring chick days at our Heidelberg and Rochester locations. And we have a large variety of different birds that we can provide and are available for people that would like to purchase them. Now, costs as far as birds when you're first starting out range varying depending on the type of bird. Perhaps Elaine can talk a little bit more on that.
Yeah, you're looking at a cost will vary depending in large part upon either the breed or the age of the bird. Chicks are obviously going to be your cheapest. Generally, you're looking at $1.75 to $5 depending on where you get them. So they're great cost-wise. However, you're looking at a fairly lengthy amount of time until they start laying, and you're also looking at special equipment you're going to need to get. They can't just be thrown in a coop. So you're also looking at the possibility of getting roosters, because despite the best efforts of hatcheries, it's very difficult to sex a lot of the different breeds. So there are a lot of things to consider. Chicks are adorable, they're cute, they're cheap, but you don't know when you're going to get your eggs. It could be 3 or 4 months. You don't know if you're going to have roosters, so keep that in mind. Pullets are ready to lay. Generally, they start laying within the month. They're essentially the teenagers of the chicken world. They are a little bit more. They can cost anywhere from $5 to $40, again, depending on the breed and where you get them. So you have a far better chance of not getting roosters, which is a good thing when you're backyard hens, and you're looking at eggs probably within the month, which is great. The last kind you can look at are the ones that are currently laying. They tend to be by the most expensive. Again, ranging up to $40, although you can get some breeds that are rare that can cost up to $200 for one hen. So it depends totally, again, on the breed. They are great in that they are currently laying, so you pretty much have a guarantee that there are no roosters. The downside is because they are already laying, they will not lay for you as long. So again, it's a balancing act of deciding how much time you want to put into the hens before they start laying versus how long you would like to see them lay in the long run.
So basically, if you're willing to take the time, you can do it a little bit more economically, but if you want those assurances, it's going to cost you a little bit more,
Yes.
correct?
Yeah, we got ready-to-lay pullets. We had a couple of ready-to-lay pullets. We also got a couple that were, I think our first flock, when we first got them, we got 5 birds. 2 of them ended up being roosters. They were 10 weeks old. So now we definitely, if you don't want to take the chance of having a rooster, definitely go for the ready-to-lay. Far better chance. That's the way a lot of people go now. Unless you want the fuzzy feeling of having the cute little chicks, because that is wonderful, especially for the kids.
For sure, for sure. I'd like to say a big thank you again to Elaine Klesser for providing her knowledge and expertise as part of our video series, and also for having our wonderful birds here as part of our video series. We've talked a little bit about if backyard chickens are right for you, and if you wanted to get into doing them, the pros and cons of it, and also choosing that optimal right breed of hen through our last couple of video series. And in future, we're going to talk more, and we're going to touch more on various other different aspects of backyard poultry. But for now, I'd like to say thanks again to Elaine, and have a wonderful day.